If you walked outside tonight and looked up at the sky, expecting the familiar solitary moon that has guided humanity for thousands of years, you would instead freeze as your breath caught in your chest, because there, suspended above the horizon, a second moon would hang like a silent intruder, not a faint dot or a distant stranger, but a full companion glowing alongside the original, reshaping the night into something both beautiful and unsettling. This is the question that humanity has whispered for decades. What would happen if Earth suddenly had two moons? What would it feel like to live under double shadows, double tides, and a double heartbeat in the sky? Today, we explore not just the science, but the emotion of a world touched by a second celestial companion. And we begin by imagining the very first night humanity realizes that our sky has changed forever. At first, people everywhere would record the sky with shaking hands. Social networks would explode with videos of two shining moons rising together, one slightly larger, the other perhaps dimmer or tinted in a shade unfamiliar to our eyes. The world would not sleep that night. Two moons would cast overlapping shadows on the streets, giving cities an eerie glow that feels both supernatural and strangely beautiful. But behind this wonder lies a scientific revolution. Because adding another lunar body to our orbit would immediately disturb Earth's delicate gravitational balance. Our original moon gently stabilizes our planet's tilt and shapes the rhythm of the tides. A second moon would not simply join this choreography. It would disrupt it and rewrite the dance entirely. The tides would be the first to feel the consequences. With two gravitational forces pulling the oceans in different directions, the tides would no longer follow the predictable pattern humanity has known for millennia. In some regions, the water would rise far higher than usual, creating extreme high tides capable of flooding coastal areas on a regular basis. In others, competing gravitational pulls might cancel each other out, producing tides that are strangely weak and inconsistent. Imagine living near the ocean and discovering that the tide no longer follows a stable schedule. Fishermen would face unpredictable waters. Coastal cities would need new flood defenses. Even the ecosystems along the shores would be forced to adapt or vanish, because nature depends on rhythm, and now the rhythm would be broken. But the oceans are only the beginning. Our planet's axial tilt, which determines the length and intensity of seasons, would also be at risk. The moon we already have plays a critical role in stabilizing Earth's tilt at about 23.5 degrees, preventing dramatic swings that could devastate climate patterns. A second moon would act like an additional hand-pulling on Earth. If its orbit were not perfectly aligned, it could cause Earth to wobble more intensely over long periods of time. Summers might grow hotter, winters colder, and some regions could shift into climates they were never meant to have. Forests might migrate, deserts might expand, and rain patterns could break into a new global configuration. Life on Earth is built on stability, and a second moon threatens to rewrite the climate map. Yet beyond the scientific changes, the psychological impact would be profound. Humans have always looked to the sky for stories and myths. The moon has shaped poetry, guided ancient calendars, and inspired religions across cultures. A second moon would challenge that symbolism. It would force humanity to reinterpret legends, redraw constellations, and reimagine its place in the universe. Artists would flood the world with new interpretations of the double-moon sky. Children would grow up never knowing a world with one moon. The night would feel fuller, deeper and stranger, as if Earth had entered a new chapter in its cosmic journey. But with two moons orbiting Earth, the system would be fragile. If the second moon were smaller and placed at a stable distance, the two could coexist peacefully for millions of years. But if it were too close or too massive, the gravitational interaction could become chaotic. The moons could gradually pull each other into unstable orbits, eventually leading to a collision. A lunar collision in Earth's orbit would be catastrophic. A massive impact between moons would fill our sky with glowing debris, forming rings like those around Saturn. At first, these rings would look breathtaking, shimmering as sunlight scattered through icy dust. But, over time, pieces of debris could spiral down through the atmosphere as blazing meteors, threatening cities and rewriting geography. The beauty of a double-moon system carries within it the seed of destruction. Even if the two moons never collided, Their gravitational tug on each other could cause internal stress and geological activity. The second moon might develop cracks, volcanic vents, or eruptions of gas and dust. We have seen this in the moons of other planets. When gravitational forces stretch and compress a moon repeatedly, heat builds up inside it, creating geysers and volcanic activity. Imagine looking up at night and seeing volcanic plumes erupting from our new celestial neighbor, glowing faintly as they reflect sunlight. It would be a reminder that the universe is alive in ways we rarely imagine. From Earth, the night sky would become an ever-changing stage. Lunar eclipses would become more complex, with each moon occasionally casting its shadow on the other, creating celestial moments never seen before. Sunlight would paint the moons with different colors depending on their positions, sometimes producing nights with extraordinary brightness and others with eerie dimness. Travelers would witness landscapes illuminated by dual moonlight, giving deserts and mountains a haunting silver glow. Human civilization would adapt in unexpected ways. Agriculture might need new calendars to account for the gravitational influences on seasons and tides. Navigation at sea would need recalibration. Astronomers would develop new models to predict the movement of two moons with precision. And poets, of course, would never run out of inspiration. A love story told under two moons carries a different weight, a different emotion, as if the universe itself were watching more closely. But perhaps the greatest impact would be on our sense of identity. For the first time, humanity would live in a world that feels undeniably different from the one our ancestors knew. The sky is one of the few constants that has remained unchanged throughout human history. To alter it so dramatically would remind us that Earth is not a static home. It is part of a universe in motion, a universe capable of surprising us with beauty and danger intertwined. A second moon would challenge our belief that we understand our place in the cosmos. It would force us to ask once again the ancient question: how fragile is our world? In the end, living with two moons would be both a gift and a warning. A gift because it would transform our nights into something unforgettable, a constant reminder of the vastness above us. A warning because every change in the heavens carries consequences. The tides, the climate, the seasons, and even the stability of the moons themselves would become part of an intricate balance that could shift over centuries. Tonight, our sky holds only one moon, steady and familiar. But imagining a second moon allows us to appreciate the delicate harmony that makes life on Earth possible. It reminds us that even a small change in the heavens can echo through every ocean, every forest, and every human heart. And if one day humanity looks up and sees two moons instead of one, the world beneath them will never be the same again.